Hello everybody, it's Foxy speaking, and yes, welcome to another episode of Foxy's Fun Inspirational Chats. And today I will be your host. In this video, this is a little story, which is actually quite true actually. This video is talking about something that did happen in the past, and it's linked towards a very famous and well-known actor. That is the actor Brian Blessed, OBE. And in this episode, talking about Brian Blessed, and well, not to mention, speaking of Brian Blessed, Gordon's alive! Gordon's alive! Or, you miserable sod! What the fuck's happened? You're not doing fuck all at the moment. Oops, sorry. Where the fuck are you? Oh, it's go back to the fucking thing. Go back to the fucking beginning. Where the fuck are we? And all that. Well, sorry for swearing, but Brian Blessed did that on Have I Got News For You back in about 2008. But this story about Brian Blessed was his youth. And one part of his youth was really not all that pleasant, to be honest with you. Just to say, he really did not have... Well, one part of his youth was really not pleasant at all. This was back in the early 1950s, when Brian Blessed was then a young 14 years of age. Because his father worked as a coal miner down in the coal mines in... Barnsley, Mexborough joined together. Well, it's Mexborough and Barnsley, which are quite closely fixated together in South Yorkshire, which was where Brian Blessed originally comes from, in the Saxon part, of the country and all the rest of it. His father works as a coal miner, and when Brian Blessed was 14, his father very, very badly injured himself in the coal mines. Well, no, he didn't injure himself, but he got very, very badly injured. Painfully injured in the coal mines, and that injury, Brian Blessed's late father, William Blessed, the injury he sustained in the coal mines at that time was being crushed. And the injuries was so bad, his crushed injuries was so bad, that William Blessed, Brian Blessed's father, who was then in his 40s at the time, ended up spending months in the hospital, and because of how bad the injuries were and how long he had to be in hospital for, Brian Blessed's mother ended up having a nervous breakdown, and because of that, Brian Blessed had no choice but to leave school at the age of 14, because of his father's terrible injuries in the coal mines, and also his mother's nervous breakdown, in which his mother could not support the family because of that, and because of what happened to his father. I mean, Brian Blessed, he was school team captain. I mean, it broke his heart. It completely broke his heart that he had to leave school at 14, as it would for any 14-year-old having to leave school and go to work for supporting a family, which is very, very rare to happen these days, and certainly in the 50s, probably more common in the 19th century than it would have been in the 20th century, but still it could happen in some cases, or some extreme cases, if I may say so. So Brian Blessed sadly left school at 14, leaving early, which seriously broke his heart. And because he was so heartbroken, he took up a job as an undertaker, which was building coffins for people who had died. Well, dead people, technically. And because Brian Blessed was bad at carpentry, and also because he was deeply heartbroken over leaving school, he always made the dead bodies' coffins too small. And so he was squashing the dead bodies into the coffins, and every inspector who came to observe the work he was doing, he was painfully criticised. They always came up to him and said, good God, what you doing, Brian? They'll say they can't feel anything, they're dead, they can't feel it." And so Brian Blessed, he was always squashing the bodies into the coffins because he could not fit them in because he made the coffins too small. And then before long, and because he was criticised so much for making the coffins too small, "Good God, what's they doing, Brian? They can't feel anything, they're dead, they can't feel it." And then before long, with over time, as he continued working as an undertaker, before long the richest man in his local home village sadly died, and at that point Brian Blessed had had enough of the serious criticism and being criticised. Well, he'd really had enough of being criticised, and so he made the dead richest man's coffin 8 feet long. And at the time of the funeral, the people took the coffin to the church, the funeral church ceremony, and then all the people at the church in the funeral, when they saw the size of the dead richest man's coffin, they ended up saying, "It looks as though he's taken his bloody money with him." But after that, because Brian Blessed was criticised for what he did in the work, because he couldn't make the coffins right, the right size let alone, he decided to leave that job and immediately got a job as a plasterer, in which he was better at doing himself. And so he did the plastering job and did it at that, and there we are, But obviously his father was still in hospital at the time, and he continued with that work even after his father came out of hospital and got back to mining work again after recovering from his terrible injuries and all that. And then before long, after the plastering work was over, he went to Dramatic School of Arts, the RADA Dramatic School of Arts, training to be an actor, and got in and then became an actor, and the rest is the big story, and now his life lies ahead of being acting. And he's still acting as of 2022, believe this or not, despite being well over 80, as a matter of fact. Yes. And this is the story of Brian Blessed's youth, how he went through a really terrible phase in his youth to much later on in his adult life having one of the most successful careers oneself could undertake, being a successfully famous actor later on in life. And that's where the story lies ahead. Yes. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, everybody. Please let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. And I shall certainly see you in the next episode. And thanks for watching, everybody. Ta-ta, another time. From Foxy.